just that everything's against us.
Мы приглашаем вас на новый эпизод воскресной ночной битвы. Welcome to another exciting episode of Sunday Night Fights.
Hello, Fight fans! Here we are, SNF Special Beta Edition Style Company of Heroes 2! Alright, welcome to the show. We've got special stuff prepared for you this evening. Fantastic games from the best players who have been trying out the beta over the last month, and special guests. First of all, of course, I have to welcome to the show my right-hand man. He's always backing me up, straight from Los Angeles. Yoink! What's up, Yoink?
Hello, my good friend, Ami. This is Yoink, your right-hand man, doing things that a right hand does for Sunday Night Fights. You know, I've been with you a long time. This is a very special game for us this Sunday, as we have been given permission by Relic and Sega to broadcast a live show with special guests, and it is going to be an intense night of competition between some of the very best players in the Company of Heroes world, and I am looking forward to it. How about you?
Yes, I am psyched. I am stoked. All my Cali talk's going to come out, especially when we start chatting with our special guest who's going to give us a little interview. What better way to inaugurate Company of Heroes 2 live streaming, the first official broadcast ever, than to be joined by Bobby Lynx Miller, our community manager for Company of Heroes 2. Bobby, what's happening?
What's up, everybody? Great to finally be here. It's been a long time coming.
I'm sure many people have interacted with you over the past many months since the sequel was announced, and you've been our community manager with THQ and then now again with Sega, and I bet many have chatted with you, but not as many have heard your voice. So maybe introduce yourself a little bit, you know? Let them get to know you.
Yeah, so if I haven't actually met you in person, I guess no one actually knows what I sound like, so this is kind of a watershed moment maybe. But yes, I'm Bobby. I'm currently living in Los Angeles, working at Sega. If I haven't said it enough before, I'll say it again. Thank you, everyone, to the Company Heroes community. I have this job because of all of you guys. Your efforts after THQ died are the stuff legends are made of, and I'm very grateful to all of you guys. Glad to still be sailing with the Company Heroes 2 chip, and ready to kick off some Sunday Night Fights and see what you guys got. I know you guys have had a couple of weeks from the closed beta to figure out how things work and see who's got the best stuff, and time to put it all to work.
Yeah, 4 weeks. We've been rocking this closed beta since April 2nd, so the players have had a chance to perfect their art and to really explore all of the new mechanics and units that are offered in Company of Heroes 2. But first of all, let's talk about this crazy roller coaster ride that this game has gone through. I mean, when did you come on to Company of Heroes at the beginning and with THQ?
Yeah, it's been an interesting year, hasn't it? So I was hired at THQ maybe 3 weeks before we announced Company of Heroes 2. I remember making an announcement to the community that, hey, hi everybody, I'm Lynx, I'm the new community manager, and everybody was like, oh, this means Company Heroes too, right? No, it doesn't. It was a lot of fun, but yeah, it's that was brought on board with THQ very shortly before the announce, and I've been there ever since, fighting my way through bankruptcies and all.
So that transition time, you were out of a job and didn't know if Sega was going to pick you up, and then the community rallied to insist that they picked you up, and that actually helped you get your job. Is that how it went down? I mean, that just sounds like kind of things that, like, that sounds like something that doesn't ever happen.
Yeah, that's actually exactly how it went down. It was crazy. The Friday that THQ fell apart after the bankruptcy ruling, we were all, every single one of us were without employment. There was no, extended offers or anything. There was a handful of people that were listed as like transition team, but for the most part, every one of us were out of the job. We weren't talking to Sega before then. We knew Sega was maybe interested in bringing some THQ people on board, but there wasn't any kind of transition plan from Sega or THQ. And we actually had our last order from the THQ marketing department was just to have an all quiet on all fronts. We weren't allowed to talk about anything, to post anything, which obviously made a lot of sense. And shortly after, missed you
on the forums, because we're accustomed to having you around all the time. We get used to it, and then poof, you're gone, and we're like, what's going on? It was like
and that was killing me because I was
in January.
Yeah, I was lurking the whole time, and I couldn't post anything because, it just wasn't worth jeopardizing it, because I didn't know anything any more than anyone else did. So, I mean, I couldn't have been offered any kind of useful information anyways, but I think at one point I had jokingly made a tweet to Sega's Twitter account saying something along the lines of, hey, does anybody need a slightly too tall, I'm 6'7" for those who haven't met me, does anybody need a slightly too tall interactive marketing manager? And it got retweeted by a couple of Company Heroes fans, and before I knew it, I woke up the next morning and there was over 80 tweets from various Company Heroes fans, all pointing directly at Sega's Twitter account, telling them to hire me, and it was really overwhelming. I didn't expect it. It was really incredible. And then shortly after that had happened, I think it was afternoon of the next day, Kelly Parker, who's the lead community manager at Sega, direct messaged me, and she first of all wanted to know what was going on, and then was also obviously interested in talking to me, and she was just as clueless as everyone else was at the time, but she was interested in trying to get that ball rolling. So we started talking then, and one thing led to another, and here I am.
Excellent. Yoink's wife just got stung by a bee. I'm sorry. There's no way I could not say it because it kind of routed me. So
yeah,
go,
guys,
Yoink. Go.
I'm sorry.
Go.
You're gonna have to carry this interview for a second. Hold on.
All right. So.
Those LA bees, man.
Sega picked you up. And then what was that like trying to adjust? Because they allowed you to keep working from Los Angeles. How did that all work out?
Yeah, that's correct. They're based in San Francisco. Sega of America is, that is, and this is a complicated thing for everybody. Sega's never experienced anything like this. We've certainly never experienced that, and we being the THQ guys that made it to Sega. So they've been kind of giving us a lot of leeway because they know we were really close to launch, and they know that we had a really good cadence going. We knew what we were doing. We were really rocking into THQ, and so Sega didn't want to meddle with any of that. And once they brought the four of us on board, they let us continue to operate basically the way we did at Sega, or I'm sorry, at THQ. So because of that,
who are the four of you?
So the four of us, it's now three. One of us has found another job and moved on, but the marketing director from THQ that was working in Company Heroes, and our communications manager, whom I'm sure many of you know, Simon Watts, from interviews, and myself are the three that are still working on Company Heroes. And that was ultimately our core group at THQ. We had a lot of people working in Company Heroes. We lost a lot of great people, unfortunately. But as far as the core marketing team is concerned, this is the ones of us that are left. And so Sega are supporting us. We're still pursuing our marketing objectives. We're still pursuing our community things, and Sega's supporting us to help make those things happen. Sega is a very different company than THQ was. In a lot of good ways, in a lot of different ways. And they understand that, and they know what we just went through is unprecedented in the gaming industry. So they've done a really great job of letting us be ourselves, continue to play by our rules, and to keep giving Company Heroes the attention, you know, that we were giving it at THQ. And of course, I mean, there was a huge transition, obviously. I mean, things have been complicated for us for a while. I feel like we're finally, after, what has it been, 3 months now, getting up to speed. But there's just so many little details involved with a transition like this. I mean, they hired us. That took a month. It took a couple of weeks for us to get up to speed learning Sega ways and methods, and you know, we had to bring all the website assets in, we had to bring in all of our creative assets in, we had to bring in all of our video vendors and people that were working all around the world on our trailers and stuff. And that stuff takes a lot of time, and there's a lot of little things that get lost in the cracks, and it's been an unbelievably complicated process. But fortunately, we're getting really close. You know, we were given extra time on the game, so we're looking to keep focusing on it. We're getting really close.
I mean, Sega has delayed the launch date, the release date. So by doing so, that means they're investing those couple months more of development time into Relic. And we as fans, you know, we love to hear that there's more development going into this game that we love. We want it to be the best game that it can be. So, you know, I personally don't mind an extra couple months wait when I know that those months are being spent improving the game.
Yeah, and when you think about it, the new release date is hardly longer than even a full year after the announcement of Company Heroes 2. So it's not an outrageous. You know, we're not talking like Blizzard or Valve quantities of delay. And ultimately, like, it's a really great thing for the game in the end. Within our first week of working at Sega, we flew up to San Francisco, and we booked a conference room with the Sega marketing guys, and we spent an entire day, the four of us, just presenting all of our work and plans and our progress, everything to these guys, and it blew their minds. I mean, they obviously knew the potential of Company of Heroes because they obviously were invested enough to spend the money to buy the IP in the studio.
Yeah, paid a pretty penny for it.
That they did, and I don't think, you know, like, they knew what they were getting, but I don't think they knew what they were getting. And once we showed them the capability of the community, the amount of features we're putting into the game, the kind of assets we'd been working on, they were blown away by it. And fortunately, they've definitely moved in to support that in every way they can, and it's definitely starting to show. Sega definitely believes in Company of Heroes and the community, and they're ready to make sure this game gets done right.
That's excellent. I don't know if you're able to answer this, but I have to ask you, like, what's the future hold for you with Sega? Do you know any more about that now?
Unfortunately, I don't. That's going to be an interesting thing. I'm just Rise Point. I'm going to see this game's launch,
we'll skip that one.
I'll worry about myself when we get the game out the door.
All right. Well, I have to personally thank you for every single time that you mention anything that we're doing on Facebook, because you and your 400,000 plus likes and fans and followers there, 400,000 for this game. It just, anytime you mention our website, co2.org, for any of you that don't know, you know, it crashes because we just get flooded with traffic. And, you know, I credit a lot of that to you, because you, in my you are the social media man. I mean, how many, have you broken 10,000 tweets yet? You're on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, I'm at 22,000.
22,000? What in the, what? You know, I don't even know how that's possible, since Twitter is not the oldest of technologies, but maybe you can talk a little bit about how, you know, being a community manager and how the new social media sphere, you know, what kind of influence that has had on, you know, the work that you do in Company of Heroes 2.
Yeah, it's been social media has been a fun ride for me. One of the reasons I've got such a high tweet count, I've been tweeting since the service was first announced back in, I think, 07 or 06, whatever it was. Yeah, and I didn't really get it at first. You know, to a lot of people, you look at something like Twitter and it's like, oh, you're tweeting about the hamburger you're eating, or oh, you're going to the bathroom. Huh? Time to tell everybody. Like, you know, that's what it was made out to be from the start. Because Twitter, as a website, in the beginning, told you what are you doing, and then you write what you're doing. they've evolved their platform, the users have evolved the platform, that now it's about communicating with people, it's about engaging people and starting conversations. And as a brand like Company of Heroes, it's, in my opinion, the best way to talk to your fan base, because when you've got thousands and thousands of people out there, as I'm sure many of you know, it's easy for your voice to be lost in the crowd if you're trying to get support on something, or you have a question about something, or even if you just want to express gratitude. And that's one of the beautiful things about Twitter, is that it gives us a chance as a brand, as Company of Heroes, to engage our 10,000 followers I think we have now on a daily basis. Really quick, you know, like it's not like there's a queue of people waiting to have answers from their own questions or whatnot. We can just talk to people as it comes in. As things happen, we go to shows and whatnot, we're getting real-time feedback. It's phenomenal. And that's really the most important thing to remember. It's about engaging people. It's not
personal.
about
it's
advertising.
Amazing. It's personal.
Yeah.
You feel part of everything, you know. No longer are you just behind this wall of being, oh, I'm a customer and that's a developer. Suddenly the developer just talked to you. Oh my, what in the world? It's fantastic. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, and that's what's really important about it, because it's before social media existed, you didn't have an outlet like that. You know, you couldn't, outside of physically having a person meet with other fans or customers or whatnot, you couldn't have that outlet. And all you had was communications through press releases and channels and all those things, and it was very impersonal. And
it feels completely
it's great
outdated now. Just even thinking about a press release. Press release? What's that? On a piece of paper? Send it to Reuters?
Yeah, like who wants to read that? You know, it's it's really great, and it's given us a lot of opportunities. Fortunately, it's worked really well for us. You know, I've always tried to take, and I know Noun shares these. Noun being our other community manager who's within Relic, the two of us both share a really strong vision with our community channels, that we're not posting links. Oh, check this out, Company Heroes blah blah blah, Company Heroes blah blah blah. We do that every once in a while, but we make sure we make the experience personal. We want to connect with our fans, and I know there's a lot of brands out there that don't treat social media that way, and it turns users off. They don't want to just talk to a wall of advertising. And I mean, it obviously shows that when you're engaging people and you're making fans a part of the conversation, it works. I mean, our Facebook group, before Company of Heroes 2 was announced, was at 40,000 fans, and within 8 months, 412,000. Yeah,
incredible,
insane,
fantastic. Right now, since I know that the publications are coming from both you and Noun. That's Jeffrey Simpson, who of course works for Relic in Vancouver. I'm always trying to guess like who it's from. Was that Bobby or was that Jeffrey? I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out, And often I have no idea, because you guys kind of, you blend in. You play that role. You wear that avatar like seamlessly back and forth, and
Yeah, it helps that he also has previously worked on the franchise, so we both get the community. I can see somebody new coming in, me having to try to explain to them how to talk to the Company of Heroes community, and the way you guys are, the way you are, and it just wouldn't go well. And that was one of the reasons it helped. Like as soon as Now came back, he was firing at full throttle.
Yeah, because he was around for Company of Heroes 1 for years. Great timing for him to come back. Let's talk about this beta. We've been running closed beta since April 2nd. There was a quick couple weeks of alpha stress tests in December. This beta is going to close on Tuesday the 30th. Is that correct?
That is correct. The 30th is the final day, and I don't know what time specifically, but if I was a betting man, I'd probably say early morning.
Early morning.
Pacific Standard Time.
Pacific Coast time. Yeah. And so what's next for these couple of months before the release?
So we're going to have a short shutdown, so all of you addicts, I apologize. You're going to have to find something to keep you busy in the meantime. We're going to have probably, don't quote me on this because I don't know myself yet, but I would assume probably like a month of shutdown, because Relic wants to patch the game. They're going to do some internal testing. Those will take a couple of weeks. But then we will be back before launch with an open beta. And again, I don't know exactly what time that's going to drop in. But
open beta.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
How about some love in Twitch chat? How about that, open beta? That's going to be great fun.
Yeah, so anybody who didn't get a chance to jump into the closed beta, you still got an opportunity coming up to try the game before launch. Yeah, so, and hopefully we'll have a nicely patched build that will, give you guys something else other than mortars to complain about.
And what are there going to be any teasers about the campaign? I mean, a lot of the diehard SNF fans are just multiplayer only. That's the only thing they think or care about. But I've got a soft spot in my heart for the Company of Heroes campaign, and I'm really looking forward to the sort of Operation Barbarossa pushing into Russia, and then Russia pushing back all the way to Berlin, which is of course where I live. I'm in the heart of the finale for this game. I'm very excited for the campaign. Are we going to get some more teasers about the campaign? Is it still following a Russian reporter through the entire experience, 41 to 45?
Yeah, we're we haven't talked about campaign very much, if at all, yet, and that's kind of a weird thing because I love the campaign of Company Heroes games. They're really great, and statistically, we see that the majority of our customers play just for single-player skirmish or campaign. So that was one of the things that got kind of confusing with the whole THQ deal. We should have talked about campaign by now, but that got pushed back, obviously. So while I can't tell you any details yet, I can tell you that on Monday we will be talking about it. And you keep your eye on the press, you keep your eye on the social channels, you're going to see a lot of information about Theater of War and the campaign and all that goodness for all you single-player fans.
Nice. I mean, in this beta, there are those really brief tutorials, but the sound, the score of this game is so powerful, and the guy who's narrating those little tutorials, I mean, I started to get some flavor, and if the campaign, I'm sure, is much better than that little glimpse, I think it's going to be a very flavorful experience.
Yeah, I've actually on some of my own time, I've been playing through the single-player campaign on an early build that I have installed, and I've gotten about 5 or 6 missions in.
Now you're just
got about 5 or 6 missions in, and
come on, I don't want to hear this stuff. I don't want to hear this.
It's really, really good, man. It's really good.
Yeah, great.
Hey, maybe you can stream it. Why don't you stream it for us?
Oh yeah. Let me get on that. I'll just ask Relic. I'm sure they'll be cool with it.
And so these metrics, Quinn Duffy's talking about telemetry, and I'm sure that must mean getting data from all of these games that the beta players are playing. How does Sega involved with and wow, the feedback on your forums has just been immense. How do you guys attempt to siphon all of that information into something useful?
Well, one of the really positives of being with Sega right now, and I don't mean this, I mean no disrespect with this, but in a lot of ways, Sega is a lot more, how should I say, organized than THQ was. That's not always a good or bad thing, but in the way of data mining and applying feedback, I mean, Sega's been around forever. They've been down this street many times before. And also, Sega's been a pretty good champion of PC gaming themselves for a long time. They've made pretty good ports of a lot of their games. They've made they've published exclusives. They like THQ, Sega gets the PC space. And the one thing that I found is that since starting there is that they're really good about wrangling feedback. Their customer support is really strong, and they know how to take these things like a closed beta test and turn it into useful information that helps the developers build something stronger. I mean, just having functioning closed forum for beta testers alone kind of speaks volumes to how prepared they were for this compared to some of the bumps we had at THQ trying to set things like this up. So it's a good place to be for a PC-only title with a strict alpha and beta rollout schedule. Because they've done it before, they know how to deal with it, and they know how to talk to Relic and make that stuff turn into actual adjustments to the game, that improvement.
I think all of us fans of the game feel very comfortable when we launch this beta and see Sega's sparkling logo as the very first screen. First of course it was a shock. We're so accustomed to seeing THQ up there, but I think all of us are very glad about the way that this transition happened and what we see from the patching. They've been patching week after week, and the adjustments that have been made have all been in the right direction, and that is incredibly promising. I'm sure that especially the community that I'm part of, Kotu.org, people are so critical, but it's only because they love this game and they want it to be great. And so I'm sure you and Quinn and everybody is just getting flack on on all sides about this and this and this and that. But from what I've seen, the changes that are being made are being very positive. Yoink, do you have questions for Bobby before we let him enjoy the rest of his Sunday morning?
Yeah, sorry I had to disappear there for a second. My wife was downstairs in the kitchen, and she like screamed at the top of her lungs. I'm like, what the heck is that? So I run down there, and she'd been stung by a bee, and she had never been stung by a bee before, and her father is allergic. So it was just like a panic moment there. We were like, oh God. I'm like, is your tongue swelling up, honey? Can you breathe? She's ends up being okay. So then I had to look up, easy at-home remedies for bee stings, but she's going to be okay, so that means that Sunday Night Fight is not canceled for Yoink tonight, which is good. Just put some ice on it. Everything is good. But Bobby, it's good to talk to you. I heard about half the interview, so I don't really know all the questions that Ami did or didn't ask. But my thoughts were, as I was playing the beta, my question for you is the kind of contributions from the community that you're getting in the forums. Is this the kind of stuff that has been very useful for you guys, or is there something over this last month that was more useful than other contributions that you can think of off the top of your head?
Well, the fun little red snow glitch we had, the immediate feedback on that one certainly brought to everyone's attention too. Yeah, it's been really...
You know what, Bobby? I've immortalized that because fans, if you look really close, and we're going to show this to you a bunch of times, in the intro video, those first two scenes with the guys hurdling, that you'll see some red flakes. And so I managed to make those during that one day where we had red snow, and so we'll have it forever.
I mean, it seemed applicable, right? I mean, I don't think it was all that much of a mistake.
It's not too inappropriate.
Yeah, the feedback's been immense. The Sega forum is just packed to the brim with feedback from players, and it's given us a lot of stuff. And I think some of the most useful stuff that I've heard from Relic that they've been happy with as far as feedback is concerned is a lot of the things like, I mean, balance adjustments are a lot harder, but a lot of the major missteps in balance, they've heard the cries and they've been able to address those kind of things or prepare to address them. Feedback on the commanders too, especially, even though the full commander trees aren't available in the closed beta, but having feedback from a lot of the players on, well, I think this commander would be better if it was more exclusive, or this one feels a little out of balance. They've been able to make a lot of great adjustments based on your suggestions and feedback. And
we're gonna have to rewrite all of our
commanders, well, if not for current commanders, it's definitely the kind of stuff that's going to help them with future commanders, because it's been great having so many people get their hands on the commanders and finally get some really solid feedback from people on that system.
Opel Blitz Truck OP. No, I'm just kidding.
Yep.
Not good, but it's true. Any more questions, Joy? I'd love to get in game, and I'm just thirsty to show them what we're talking about to kick this off.
You guys did a great interview, and I just wanted to thank Lynx for being here. Our fans always love being able to hear breaking news first on Sunday Night Fights, and so we appreciate all of the data that you give us because it's awesome.
Yeah, man, no problem. My pleasure.
You have any shout-outs for friends or family that might be watching?
Oh, that's a long list. We better not get into that. But again, I just want to say thank you to everyone in the community. You guys all know who you are. You've done wonders for my career, and I hope that I've been able to help you guys enjoy the ride for Company Heroes too.
Hell yeah, I can thank you on behalf of the community because you've been fantastic and you've been approachable and knowledgeable and just always there with the hookups. So Lynx, I applaud you. Thanks for coming in and joining us on this inaugural stream. Pretty cool. I mean, this is like a historic moment, right? This is the first live broadcast official of Company of Heroes 2, the first of many.
It is, as they say, a big deal.
All right, man. Well, thanks very much. Yoink, NTD, our cameraman. If you would take us in-game, we've got a 1v1 show match. Everybody in the chat, give some love to Bobby. Follow him. He's at UPSLynx on Twitter. So, Bobby, thank you very much, man. Have a wonderful Sunday.
Thank you, guys. I'll see you in chat.